I'm using a special program for screen recording. In fact, it is something very efficient called Format Factory. Okay, it's now it's the time to start. First of all, I'd like to welcome you all to this first anniversary of CyJurII. CyJurII turns 1. It is the main theme. I am Yassin Abdalla Abdelkarim. I am an Egyptian judge. I work at Economic Court. Economic Court is a specialized court for financial and cyber crimes in Egypt. So I am a cyber crime judge. I daily look at cyber crimes and their litigations and give judgments on it. So this is my main specification at work. And in the same time, the main field of research and my academic endeavors. So I'd like to welcome you all. At first, I'd like to share my screen and to start on a presentation as an orientation to you for CyJurII, as many of you are very new to CyJurII who joined this month or the last month, and for public audience who are not members at CyJurII. So first of all, I will share the screen, and I hope you all affirm that you see my screen, okay? You see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes, this is a presentation, okay? Okay. I will start now, okay? Please affirm that you see the screen and you hear me.
Yes, sure.
Okay. Welcome to Cyber Jurisprudence International Initiative. This initiative it's not the first of its own. I know in the world we have dozens of initiatives working in the main field of research. But this is the first open, voluntary, collaborative contribution that aims to establish a global understanding of cyber jurisprudence as a distinctive branch of legal science. In brief, cyber jurisprudence is the approaches used by courts to apply law in cyberspace. This is in very brief to know what is cyber jurisprudence, how courts apply law in cyberspace. And we focus not in courts of the capitals. We tend to focus on the very remote courts in each state, in each jurisdiction, that when a single judge is faced by cyber litigation, cyber crime, financial, cyber relations, how he thinks about this, how he thinks how to apply the traditional existing law in this cyber incident, in this techno-legal environment. We all know that cyber relations are a rapidly evolving environment, and no legislator in the world can keep pace with its advancements and its daily advancements. So here comes the very role of judges. Those judges presiding and sitting in the bench in every court in our world, all of them are contributing to establish cyber jurisprudence. So this initiative aims to gather all of these endeavors and to shed light on contributions that share the same objective. CyJurII is a global scholarly movement focused on reconceptualizing law for the digital age. It explores how legal principles are applied in cyberspace through judicial interpretations and practices that aim to adapt law to cyberspace distinctive technical challenges. rather AI, governance, digital evidence managing, and other digital conceptions like sovereignty, like trade and interstate relations. This initiative fosters and focuses on research, dialogue, collaborative capacity building, and international collaboration among jurists, judges, scholars, practitioners, policymakers, and even young law students. So, the main theme of our initiative is open collaborative contribution. We are all volunteering at CyJurII. CyJurII doesn't offer jobs, it offers contributions, opportunities. And it's global, and it's now, a year ago it was established, and I was alone. And now we are active 88 members. About 20 or 30 members, they have voluntarily exited, so the whole number reaches about 130 members who believed in CyJurII and joined it. CyJurII stands at the frontier of legal thought. We are reshaping law to uphold justice, dignity, and human rights in the digital realm. And this is the main objective of CyJurII. We aim to redefine justice in the algorithmic age and the age of rapid advancement in the field of cyber technology and automated technologies. We are at CyJurII, a global movement for cyber jurisprudence, as I previously said. We are established upon collaboration, global reach, academic rigor by focusing on research and analyze judgments and cyber incidents, and practical impact. We seek to observe our impact. When we publish an insight or case law commentary or a handbook, I always tend to track it and track its impacts worldwide. We adopt a core principle of ethical integrity of our work. We believe in legal pluralism and legal inclusivity of all persons and peoples and jurisdictions in the world together to achieve the main objective of CyJurII via diverse tradition, global coordination, integrated framework, sovereignty cooperation. We believe in digital justice, and I will skip it because I elaborated before. Dialogue, building bridges across disciplines and jurisdictions by gathering expertise, technical design, collaborative research, and shared vocabulary. Our mission is based on innovation and encouraging innovation, judicial innovation and academic innovation in studying cyber-based internet and cyber law advancement. International collaboration is the core of our engine. Without collaboration, CyJurII will disappear totally because it depends on collaborations in our networks, in our dialogue, publications, and I hope maybe conferences, real-world conferences, as we have several conferences and online lectures before. We are working to help policymakers towards the right respecting jurisprudence. And I will now jump into our website. This is the old email, it doesn't work now. We have a new email now that I sent to you. I will give you an introduction into the website itself to give you a more grasp on CyJurII. This is our website that you can surf easily. The main scientific production of CyJurII lies on those steps. Research articles. We publish research articles, and I know it is not a journal by the true meaning of journal, but it's something like a research department that offers a space to publish your research, and it's for members only at CyJurII's portal, to give it to be overseen by others and by our followers. The other things, our blogs of CyJurII is divided into our insights, and you know the duty of submitting insights is one every 3 months for each member, and it is very critical to continue our production, and as you are productive, as you are alive. So our living power are derived from our scientific productions. The insight we published here, this is the last year. This is the first one. First insight was written by me on the 9th of July last year, when I introduced CyJurII to the world. And then all members are sharing their insights till now. The other one it was a special project created by our member Abu Bakr. It was about 19 episodes on file called Cyber Law in 5 minutes. They are very brief guide to cyber law. When you read it, you find a very brief and epic. This is called a special project, and each member can design and submit his or her special project and publish it, and we publish it at our website under his or her name. The third contribution and the most critical and important contributions of CyJurII is case laws. This department focused on and dictated to analyze and interpret judicial decisions and court rulings in cyber incidents and cyber litigations, to know and to understand how a single judge adapted a single legal text to the technical nature of CyJurII. This department has 2 branches: the case laws summaries. I think it is here. This is summaries only. As you see, we have about 115 case, 62 of them as a landmark from 21 jurisdictions and 8 categories. Once you select a category like AI law, you see the summaries, and when you open one, see the name, the citation number, the year, the jurisdiction, the court, and a very brief summary of the main principle adopted by the court in this litigation, and some keywords. And this was created exclusively to help researchers who want to add summaries of judgments and core principles of jurisprudence into their research. Something like an automated brief machine that helps researchers globally. And I hope each month or each 2 months I will work on this database to expand it more and more to cover all categories of cyber relations and cyber incidents. Here is the full case laws commentaries, which you also have a duty to submit. Not along with insights, you have the right to choose as a member to submit an insight or a case law commentary. This was from the last year until December. It was the first one here by our member Mercy Chur at the 2nd of August. And those are of 2026 one. The last one was in about a month ago. They are a full commentary, about 1,000 words of a single case law. It also aims to help researchers in the field, and I really encourage our members to focus on case laws commentaries rather than insights. In fact, this is my personal opinion. Oh.
Sorry,
Yes.
you requested in your PowerPoint.
We are working now from the website itself. I have finished.
Yeah, we don't see your website.
You can see it? Oh,
No, we see this in
okay, wait a minute. Are you see it now? Do you see it now?
Yes, much better.
Yes. No, okay. Okay. When you lost something like this, just inform me immediately. Okay. Because Jasim Meet works on the browser and not a single an independent application. It works on the browser itself. So sometimes you will lose screen sharing. Okay. And then let's jump to our fourth contribution, our e-learning platform. We have 3 months ago launched an e-learning platform, which is here. Do you see it? e-learning.cyjuri.org. This is our e-learning platform. This platform was created after we conducted 2 versions of a training program called Cyber Legal Skills. So this is a recordings of the material and independent material of our training program. This training program is conducted twice a year. The first of in January and the other one in September, and it takes about 2 or 3 months to complete the whole program. Here are our MOOCs. This is now till now we have single MOOC, cyber law and cyber case law for beginners. If we open it, you will see the learning objective here and the slide, and this is a video. This is a recording of the lecture itself. This cyber legal skills, the main training program at CyJurII. It's called CLS. This course components have cyber jurisprudence concept pillars, cyber case laws, analysis, data privacy and digital rights, cyber crime investigations, AI, legal singularity, legal tech innovation and future regulation. And this was taken from the second version of CLS. In the third version which will start next September, we will modify these components, and this page may definitely will be changed. I hope we add more course components. I hope we add more instructors. All instructors are members from CyJurII, and for this course it is open to be an instructor. Rather, either you are a theorist or scholar editor, as long as you prove that you have the content and the ability to present it to general audience. This is the fifth contribution of CyJurII, an e-learning platform. The last scientific contribution lies in this tab. The handbooks here. Every handbook is published by CyJurII. We add it here and make it available to download on analyzing cyber case laws. Okay, and this is data protection laws in the Arab world. This is the most recent one, and this is a very important production of CyJurII. It's like the database I showed you before. It is the cyber law glossary. I opened it. Yes, that's it. This is an open and also briefing glossary of cyber law, of terms used in the field of cyber law and cyber jurisprudence. It is arranged by, as you see, letters categories here. So if we say something like e-commerce, you will see click wrap agreement, digital marketing act, digital single market, e-commerce, and with electronic signature. When you press, you will see a very brief definition of the term that helps to elaborate on this technical term in a very simple way. It shares the same objective with the case laws database to help researchers to find the correct and appropriate terms for their research. It now has 121 terms distributed over 15 categories and 23 letters of the English language. And although we will work on it to expand it more and add more terms. And even I hope to add terms from traditional and from their source language. You know, some jurisdictions have a long history with some terms like privacy. It has several meanings in several jurisdictions. So I hope also we expand to add the term in its original name in each jurisdiction, and this to ensure our inclusivity and universalism. This is our scientific contributions, and I may share some things with you in this brief. Also, I want to show you our engagement on the world. How many people are active with our platforms and our CyJurII website. Sorry, the internet is a little slow because I am opening so many tabs and recording. Okay, this is in 7 days. We have 50 active members. So when we change it, make it from the last year, from where we started exactly, 27th of June until today, 27, 1 year. Is apply. We have during a year with our original and very original production, we have no sponsored content at all. 2008 and 800 active members at our website. Active members means someone who frequently use our website and doesn't just enter it once and leave. Our websites and platforms have had also about 47,000 incidents like a scroll, a click, and 17,000 view for the website itself. So this reflects a very strong impact, a very strong global impact, in fact, the world. In the last 7 days, those persons from these states visited us, and if we change it also to know our globality, okay, from last year till now, we'll see. This is our globality map. About the major of states in the world has once visited CyJurII. As you see this map, do you all see this map now? From several jurisdictions, and this is our true impact. From the United States comes as the first one, and then India, Pakistan, Egypt, Cameroon, Singapore, Mongolia, and I am truly proud to have this impact. And as I said, it is all created by our original content without any sponsored content being published at CyJurII. I have finished my presentation, and I will now stop sharing the screen. Yes, it is stopped now, I think, because after 5 minutes we will have Professor Dr. Khansaa Jasim. Dean of the Faculty of Law at the American University in Baghdad, Iraq. She will take the lead after 5 minutes, her keynote speech. I have finished my speech and welcoming speech for you all now. And if Asadullah here, he can take the helm from me.
Thank you very much, Honorable Judge, for the reflection on CyJurII's first year and whatever has been achieved in the last days, including, I think, what the beneficial any standardized word of standardized Muslim certificate. I'm sure we have already planned some few research papers and things that we will use throughout the year. So maybe since we have 5 minutes here, if we have any questions from the audience, so just take maybe 1-2 questions, and then we'll start with Khansaa's presentation.
Hello everyone. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah. I'm Mohammed Faizan from India. I'm currently studying in Turkey. I just wanted to ask that what is the future goal of our organization, and what we are going to achieve in a matter of working with many corporate sector or with governments.
Okay, first of all, we are not an organization. To be honest and to be very clear, we are a global scientific contribution. So, as long as we are presenting contributions, scientific contributions, and very original scientific contributions, this reflects that we are marching forward towards achieving our objective. Cyber jurisprudence sorrowfully is a poor science of law faculties and law research centers focus on cyber law in general, but no one focuses on how courts handle the law in cyberspace, and this is a very narrow scope of research in cyber jurisprudence, applying traditional laws and traditional jurisprudential tools into cyberspace. As long as we're creating scientific production, original ones, in this very narrow scope, this reflects we are moving forward. We are on the right track. So we are not an organization, we are a global voluntary scientific collaboration. This is the true and the very clear core of CyJurII. Thank you. Welcome.
Okay, thank you very much.
So just how the maps are fact that I mentioned that in the beginning for our audience, I am based in Mauritius. So Yassin is on Egypt, we have other Faizan from India and Indonesia. So
yes, CyJurII is more diverse than you think. During 1 year, CyJurII has achieved inclusivity, inclusion and diversity. Okay.
So after maybe let's move to the regional lens with Dr. Khansaa al-Aydin sharing global scholarly contributions from Iraq. As an introduction, Dr. Khansaa is the dean and founder of the College of Law at the American University of Iraq in Baghdad, and she is one of the region's foremost experts in public international law. She does hold a PhD in public law and is recognized as the first researcher in the Middle East to conduct an extensive systematic study on the theory of fragmentation in international law, and including a 700-page work. She is the author of Judicial Protection of the Individual in International Law. She has advised UNICEF, the ILO, and UNDP on legal reform and institutional capacity building. Abdelkarim, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. It's a great privilege and honor to address this distinguished gathering during CyJurII first anniversary international symposium. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the organization for bringing together judges, scholars, researchers, legal practitioners, and policymakers who share a commitment to exploring the future of law and digital world. Today I would like to share a simple but important proposition. The digital revolution is not only a transforming technology, it is transforming law itself. For decades, technology was viewed as something that law needed to regulate. Legislatures enacted laws governing telecommunications, electronic commerce, cyber crimes, and data protection, while courts interpreted those laws to establish legal principles. Today, however, artificial intelligence, strategy, research, algorithms, influence, administrative decisions, smart contracts, dispute legal obligations automatically, and digital platforms shape privacy, freedom of expression, access to justice, and technology is no longer merely the object of law regulation. It has become part of legal environment itself. This transformation raises an important question. Are we traditional legal disciplines sufficient to understand this way reality? I believe the answer is no. We are entering an era that requires the emergence of techno-legal science, unlike traditional cyber law, which focuses primarily on regulating technology. Legal science examines the relationship between law and technology. It studies how digital systems influence legal institutions, judicial reasoning, governance, and public administration, while ensuring the innovation remains consistent with justice, accountability, human dignity, and rule of law. This revolution also transforms legal education, while lawyers must understand legislation and judicial precedents, but also artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, blockchain, digital evidence, and algorithm decision making. Likewise, engineers and software developers must appreciate constitutional values, due process, quality, and legal accountability. Neither discipline can succeed independently. This is why collaboration has become the defining characteristic of modern legal scholarship. Throughout history, the greatest scientific advances have involved close cooperation among scholars, institutions, and nations. The same is true for cyber students. Artificial intelligence does not recognize national borders. Cybersecurity threats are global. Dignity evidence crosses jurisdictions and centers. Consequently, the legal questions generated by these technologies require international scholarly cooperation, comparative legal research, and interdisciplinary dialogue. This is precisely why CyJurII is so important. In my view, CyJurII is much more than an association or academic gathering. scientific academic gathering with an international intellectual community dedicated to developing the students' strive for the digital age. It brings together judges, lawyers, policymakers, computer science, scientists, educators, and researchers to create new legal knowledge capable of responding to challenges that no single country or discipline can solve alone. From my perspective, as founding dean of the College of Law at the American University of Iraq-Baghdad, I believe regional experiences have an essential role in this global conversation. Iran is experiencing institutional reform, judicial reform, digital transformation, educational development. These developments demonstrate that developed legal systems are not merely methods of international knowledge. They can actually contribute to global legal policy. For Iraq, this discussion is not merely theoretical. It is a national necessity. As our country strengthens the rule of law
اللي كان الأخير
we must
يعني
ensure
في كل
legal development, progress, alongside technological innovation. Iran needs a new generation of legal professionals equipped to address artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, digital governance, and emerging technologies while safeguarding constitutional principles, digital independence, human rights, and the rule of law. Through investment in legal education, interdisciplinary research, and international collaboration, Iran has a unique opportunity not only to benefit from global development, but also to contribute meaningfully to shaping the future of cyber jurisprudence and technological science. This is why strengthening partnerships between Iraq institutions and international initiatives such as CyJurII is both timely and essential. Knowledge should flow in both directions. Global scholarship should strengthen regional, while regional experience enrich international. As legal educators, we have a special responsibility. Law schools can no longer limit themselves to teaching existing legal rules. They must prepare future law for legal systems increasingly shaped by artificial intelligence, digital governance, automated public administration, and international technological. Universities must therefore become centers of legal innovation, interdisciplinary research, and international collaboration. Ladies and gentlemen, the digital revolution is often described as a technological revolution. I respectfully suggest that it is something much greater. It is a jurisprudential revolution. Our responsibility is not simply to regulate emerging technology. Our responsibility is to that technological innovation, serve justice, protect human rights, dignity, strengthen democratic governance, and reinforcing the rule of law. That is the true mission of cyber jurisprudence, and that is why initiatives such as CyJurII are so valuable. They remind us that the future of law will be built through collaboration, scientific dialogue, interdisciplinary research, and a shared commitment to ensuring that technology remains a servant to justice rather than its substitute. From Iran, we look forward to the future as observers, but as contributors. We are ready to participate in building legal scholarship together with colleagues from around the world. Thank you very much. It has been a great honor to share these reflections with you and look forward to taking this important journey together through CyJurII. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abdelkarim. That's a rich regional perspective. I will open the floor for any questions.
I have a question for Dr. Khansaa. How such initiatives like CyJurII are reflected in the regional scope in Iraq? How you see collaborative, open collaborative, in fact not organizational one. How do you see them in the academic society in Iraq?
You mean how can we
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Like our yes, I think we have to start to educate the legal people here. I mean the legal audience here in Iraq. How it is important to make this important revolution. We need to do these workshops in order to educate them that we have to start from now. It is an important. This is why we need to take advantage from the experiences, regional experiences from the academic institutions that have been working on these issues. I have started my conversation with the Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research and the committee which is responsible to do all these things in the curriculum. Especially in law school because I am working as a member of the developing curriculum at law school. I mean the central, the university one. And I have a discussion that we have to do and activate the relations with the institutions that have, as I mentioned, been working with institutions in order to produce and enrich the generation with the accurate, with the required information about the revolution that we are witnessing during the legal environment. And also I had a discussion with and we will work on doing something related to AI and legal studies. And I think for the next time we will witness a good progress in Iraq on different levels to uphold the goals of the working legal sectors, executive and the judiciary and academic institutions, and I think we want to work together in order to do this aspect. I know well that we need to enrich the information of our next generation. And I think I discussed
exactly, yes.
One day ago about how can we work on doing or how can we develop the curricula of the Common Law, because I have ideas on my mind how to make this change curricula. I would like to say that I can rely on the traditional legal system as a foundation. However, I need to enable my students as the next generation to know more about AI and legal studies, how to like a curriculum, risk manager to do all these issues, how about managing or handling the problems when using the platforms, AI platforms, because I think for the next 2 years, some of these people's professions will be deleted and we will rely mostly on the AI platforms. This is why we have to enable our generation or our graduates how to use, how to handle, how to administer the platform while doing the protection of human rights, as I mentioned, humanity, and to ensure the rule of law. Because as you know, we cannot rely on the machine totally to do all the legal tasks, and we need to enable them to ensure that using the platform not affected on human rights or the rule of law.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So I would like maybe to add one thing before my legal career. I realized Yassin in Australia. Before my legal career, I worked extensively for almost 2 decades in IT, software development, cybersecurity, and so on. And I'm delighted to bring that background to the conversation that was mentioned, which sits at the intersection of law and technologies. So I will have Harris who has a question also to have the system. So I will leave the floor to those to ask this question.
Thanks. Thank you very much, Professor Khansaa. I hope I pronounced the name correctly, that I put on the right name. So I really like your idea of what I think is called techno-legal science. And it reminds me a lot of something that is close to my own studies, which are not in law nor AI, which is science technology studies, in which there has been a lot of literature that hey, they're proper studies, they're not. I don't think there's any programs bachelor's level, but it is something to do as a master. So I would invite us maybe to say that maybe President Abdelkarim to try to set as a goal to have a curriculum of a course in techno-legal science, and to try to do to avoid, in a way, what I see here. And forgive me, I'm from Cyprus, so this might be a bit of an oriental. So I see something from the global south. And I would like it to be better to have, first of all, jurisprudence, philosophy, which is my discipline that I study. So that perspective, to have this technical science of law starting or having been heavy on philosophy, that would be a good footing in my view, and to have it from the perspective of the people who are not the dominant ones in the AI technology. A narrative that would be critical towards, that would be engaging with this, and that would be critical. Of course, it might be lacking in some of the cutting edge tools or know-how, let's say, which is locked away in Google or these companies. But I think if it can be pioneers in that and train a few students, have a few of these students by next year or in 2 years, then I think it would be very nice to have something like that. And I think we can produce maybe something interesting, and as you said, you've already taken some of these initiatives, and you do have the power to, develop a curriculum, and within your university in Baghdad, and I don't know the history of the American universities. You need American universities everywhere, so I don't know what the actual relationship to America is. But it would be nice, I think, to to be able to, to be pioneers in this field. And I think, I'm repeating myself. If we have the power to do so, then it would be nice to discuss among us and try to set the goal of having a few students. And I would, on my part, I could contribute a bit more general from philosophy somehow, not jurisprudence, mostly philosophy of science. And under your guidance, I could do some more reading and hope I could contribute. I cannot contribute to case law, that's my apology.
Thank you, Yassin. Not only for the College of Law at CyJurII and the American University of Iraq-Baghdad, but also we need to educate the existing judges. In Iraq now, we are in the process of developing a platform for to use by the judges. So we need to educate those judges how to use the platform. This is why we need to make CyJurII be like a center for spreading the culture of law and technology. So this is why we need to do all these workshops and courses to be delivered not only for the students in our curriculum. This is a mandatory, and I have been working on this story, and I have been working on these issues to develop the curriculum. However, we need to do the AIP on it like a simple education people that will face challenges when they will start to platform and this. So I think yes, we know, and we are open for the collaboration on a regional and international level in order to do this job and create our goals. And so thank you very much.
Any other questions? You can put the question with the chat window as well. Maurice, go ahead and get it.
Yeah, if nobody else wants to put them, because it would be nice to, and it might even come up, because sometimes you get this, I think the impression I got from jurisprudence always is like that it's the topic that most students at universities hate, and they think that it's not needed. But on the other hand, maybe it could be, I can even see it being developed as a very elite, if you want, course where you need to be, offered and trying to get very good students, both in law and with a heavy, like from computing, from AI science, and mathematics background, to have them engage in the two, because it is really difficult actually, but it could be fascinating. But we also need those who work on this topic to develop the passion for it, rather than, I see, for example, in my company where I work, which is an applied AI research company, where we're doing a project on ethical AI, and that's in the European Union. But most of the people that I work with, which are from the AI side, they don't like the ethics part. They don't understand it. They're like, oh, we have this thing. Why should we be ethical? So it might be good to develop this generation which values both sides. And this is a general problem, like with humanities and law, and humanities and hard sciences. So that might be a challenge, and that might be a challenge worth having, because the distance is growing apart. And many people might say, well, AI Claude can find me all the solutions. And we say, no, there are things that we need to maybe just get into conversations with Claude or ChatGPT about and imbue it with our principles if possible, like with philosophical terms, where it says, sorry, this is too philosophical. And you say, no, you need actually, it needs to feed back into the AI, and I think that can happen even with the configuration that the programs work with, that the applications, the LLMs work with.
Perfect.
I would add something to that, Alice. I would say that the people who is developing these AI systems based on that AI innovation has outrun the pace of the independent things because of the commercial pressure, competition, speed to market, that often maybe pushes the ethics and legal safeguard to afterthought rather than a foundation. And that's maybe precisely why platforms like CyJurII matter, where we will bring a legal and ethical scrutiny back into the conversation rather than just leaving that as a feedback.
Definitely. That's something that this gap to identify an ethical gap is some colleagues that we try to develop, which is this the speed of the market outrunning the attempt to make everything ethical, but we haven't thought of legal because it was a legal project. So yeah, by all means, I can imagine that.
Everyone is looking, but we will do something, some of the AI platforms really. I'm sure if you just do an AI search, something or Google search, you will have a AI tool on the market, which has been released in the last 24 hours. Dr. Kayyam, you want to
Sorry.
I don't know
No, I don't have any question. Thank you so much for the contribution, and I look forward to see you in person and a session that is established by Dr. Yassin. You are so welcome to do.
Inshallah, sure. I will prepare a proposal and send it to you too.
So we have 3 minutes here. Maybe we can take Dr. Sulllivan. So Dr. John Sulllivan will examine the evolving cyber legal landscape for the security and counter-terrorism lens. Dr. Sulllivan is a retaliator lieutenant with the Los Angeles Sheriff Department, and now he is an instructor at the Center on National Defense and Public Safety, CyJurII School of Public Policy, USC. He holds multiple senior fellow and research roles, including at Small Wars Journal, the Urban Warfare Institute, the Future Security Initiative, Arizona State University in New America, and the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime. He holds a PhD from the Open University of Catalonia, focusing on the transitional organized crime and sovereignty. Dr. Sulllivan, over to you. You are new, Dr. Sulllivan.
Exactly. I had.
Outside.
Yeah.
Good morning, small thanks. It was great to be here. I have some slides. Would I be able to share them?
Yeah, please go ahead and share it for important.
haven't used this particular
Yes, this is an open source one that's and run by Swiss servers. Okay.
Yeah, I've been trying to upload my background, but I can't find that.
We can share the slide for you if you wish. We can do this for you. Okay, Asadullah.
Yes, go ahead and do that.
Let me do it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So let me just do that. And whatever you need to do, just mention next time and just move on that slide. So
Okay, this is kind of a good start. So the question of dealing with the new world. Cyber news, as we will see through our presentation, are fraught with lots of complexity surrounding the problem, especially with the AI age. And the last discussion actually that's important to handle when discussing jurisprudence underlies a lot of what we do with technology. I would argue that without ethical laws there's no way. Next slide. In a lot of ways, it's really about evolving the cyber legal landscape. It's really about convergence of multiple factors. We're really looking at the meta effects, social, legal, political, and cognitive factors. As you see, there's changing one of the frameworks that we do with it. Here in the United States, there's great discussion about how you can bring AI into different how you deal with AI at a philosophical level. In fact, a lot of the AI developers are now not just looking at people from science, technology, engineering, or mathematics backgrounds, they're bringing in philosophers and all of our to bring in to credential scholars as well. All of this dealing with the normative framework really needs to be included. How does the law operate? Why does it operate? How does it differ by I would ask the question, is the cyber domain actually different to drug law or the basic foundational law that underpins the law as articulated by Hannah Felton? And I know a lot of lawsuits particularly enjoy jurisprudence because many of them think it's abstract. It doesn't give them definitive answers. I would argue there are no definitive answers, especially not in the civil law system that I grew up in. It's evolved and shifted over time. And I would say that we can be true in all the previous systems and always has. So what are we seeing now? Where is it shifting? We see the shift from analog to digital. And I think the shift from analog to digital is very much the same as the shift from oral society into the world of the printed press, where mass dissemination of information can be standardized. In fact, languages and dialects start to become somewhat standardized. Although those have obviously have shifted and continue to shift. If you look at the dialect I speak natively from New York, that dialect has changed at least 3 times during my lifetime, and will probably do so again. And that's normal. It's normal everywhere, although that creates great social tension from time to time. Social tension that can be explored in very ways of asking. I think we're now beginning to do the shift from digital to what some have called the Sulllivan come together to whether that's possible or not. I think a factor of philosophical inquiry and in large case science fiction from time to time, one of our core disciplines is intelligence analysis, looking at how threats intersect with society. From time to time, I feel like I'm working with cyberpunk now, and see the world on the whole, instead of the sharper perspective, because it's going to occur. I suspect that's been true throughout history as well. The military, or the main social legal cognitive factor in the digital ecosystem is something that's been postulated by a number of scholars. Going back to Gerard before now, Gerard was an executive scholar. He was a paleontologist as well as a theologian. He was a scientist that was trying to understand how science impacted his broader human condition. David Ronfeld, great scholar of social network and network theory, retired from the Rand Corporation, also talked about the lyrics together with his colleague David Ronfeld and the postgraduate student in the United States. David talked about how society has shifted from tribes to market to institutions and is now entering the stage of network society and foundation. That's what Philip Bobick, the noted leading scholar from the United States, who also teaches in Great Britain, is called the market state. Bobick postulated that one of the things is that the competition for what the state functions look like between an authoritarian fascist model, an authoritarian communist model, and a free market liberal state model. And he argued that same battle for state wars will occur in the 20th and 21st century, and indeed did. We start to see the norms of the liberal state that was established after the post-World War II world with the foundation of the United Nations and a bipolar global relationship starting to form. What that exact form will prevail in the 21st century is to go right square into that battle. Others have called it the nexus state, the nexus between technology, etc. In the very late mid-1990s, a lot of work to understand how networks and enabled by citing the cybernetic digital would impact society. Manuel Castells, who examined and documented did a lot of work on network states. In fact, the trilogy on the network state is still one of the groundbreaking sociology in the late 20th century. He talked about communication technology changing political and social power relations. He talked about power and power relations. David Ronfeld talked about democracy, how cyber is replaced democracy. And we also talked about networks and networks, which is the program highlight on the slide here. That collection which came out through early 2001, right before the World Trade Center attack. That put it, I guess, article talking about how non-state actors like criminals and terrorists would intersect to start to change how national security formulations occur. And of course, the legal framework is involved in all of those objectives. So the rise of cyber. In the late 1990s, there was a real emphasis on critical infrastructure. I know that cyber information world that we're talking about is that currently all business processes, all supply chain processes, transportation, the electric sector, which is a foundational technology, all the critical lifelines that provide water, sharing internet, some places in the world is not necessarily in all places. In some places, it's viewed as a form of social repression. I won't mention the names of nation states, we all know who they are. But increasingly, there's this desire for authoritarian style government comes to play. That's largely because had already political theorists with scholars, one of them talked to her all the time, the rise of the Nazi state, as well as their image in some cases, the Stalinist state, like how well we as among individuals cause people to seek belonging, sometimes not belonging to the society, whatever it means. The President's Critical Infrastructure Commission in the United States actually started discussions of how we have some of those early discussions was that would there be a cyber Pearl Harbor? Would there be a surprise or a cyber attack in some way to dominate, overtake society? That hasn't happened in a bold sense yet, in a microwave sense. The term cyber Pearl Harbor contributes to the academic former Secretary of Defense of the United States, Wood Schwartau, who is a scholar and practitioner of an early developer of cybersecurity in the United States and throughout the world, talks about meta wars, how cyber means to overtake traditional warfighting means. In fact, in that very early pre-President's Commission decision to protect the movie War Games, or the popular view of saying what will happen when the information system took over the warfighting process. The tagline, we want to play a game, is something many young cyber hackers looked at. Three colleagues of mine, basketball, college, the early explorers in the national security implications of cyber. And they wrote a piece in 1998 called Information Terrorism, Can You Trust Your Toasted? And that's anticipating what we now see as Internet of Things, where cyber means that embedded in our capability. All three of those are scholars that active over still in the national security scholars in the United States, and one, for example, consultancy. Brian is now working on the Arctic issues, which deals with the shifting nature of sovereignty in that part of the world, and Bill Collins is currently the Chief Information and Security Officer in one of the very large global banking after distinguished victories of both academia and government. But the early views were that cyber attacks would be possible, cyber penetration could occur, people would exploit information. There'd be denial of service attacks, reptiles, denial of service attacks, spam, which is going to be within the CIJurII, although allowing to eliminate that somewhat. But there would be phishing attacks, and we would start to see things like malware. Lots of the computer technological at the first glance, the one thing I will say for sure, and I have you can make scholar of the United States, recently wrote a book on AI and war making, makes the clear point that it's not only about technology, it's about sociology, social psychology, how do organizations adapt to technology. That's what we're talking about in cybersecurity. How the legal profession, all the standards from the judge at the bench to the prosecutor to the defense to the legal executives to keep the system moving. How do we get to this sovereignty? So we need trusted information about it. After the 9/11 attack in the United States, there was great fear that cyber means would come into the mix, and there was also reaction in the government would start this broad-based, large extraction of information from the public what we call civil rights and civil liberties in the United States, which is called fundamental rights and other legal systems. With search and seizure restrictions in the Fourth Amendment, for example, in the United States has been somewhat attenuated and ignored. Indeed, today they still are. And they're being challenged, and we're seeing what we took as a firm basically commitment to fundamental human rights and civil rights, and of course it was never perfect, and it never is. Unfortunately, that's an aspirational goal. I think we all share with the legal professions that trusted information environment is needed to understand how we negotiate. Because one of the things that is possible today is that deep fakes and deception would become ubiquitous. In fact, you cannot go on the internet today and not see any political actors from one side or the other of the spectrum infusing false narratives, adapting videos without false news. I can call us fake news because they're mistaken the information around it as we speak. That makes it very hard. But to have questions for what is, and you can try to determine how hearsay is. What is real, what is not? What is that? When you see it, AI, like Jasim had on the slide, AI works. It makes things up. So for many reasons. We don't exactly know for sure how AI works. Because we do not know how to trust it. Yes, so those are research questions we have to deal with on the fly. We're not turning off the switch and saying we're not going to deal with AI until we're ready, because it is now used available to do. Hacking and hackers was originally used as malevolent attackers, and later on become something where hackers start to understand how to use the system, create the test system. We have black hat events in Las Vegas over the years. Many cybersecurity professionals, hackers, developers go there every year and try to figure out how to do this better. Along with all the technology cybercrime, I think for me, one of the truths that we really deal with the crime we're going to stop. So we're starting to see the rise of this notion of moving towards this instead. Networks are still key, but in order to go beyond disruption, deal with actual physical results. So what I call working with hackers, my writing, I was just on board. When I actually was a consultant for the National Laboratory during the Federal Protection Day, when we were supporting that initiative. And one of the things I was looking at is how do we protect large urban areas of society relies upon. At that point in time, it was a potential that we could protect virtual digital attack and that affecting the physical system that when I go to work. That reality has come to pass in this year. And one of the early war games I ran in mid-2000s, we simulated the attack on two large ports that at that time two large ports in the United States. And I looked at it happening the port infrastructure, people were supervising control data acquisition systems, data systems, and in fact, using real data, looking at real-time penetration and capacity reports, we realized it could be done in simulated in a war game, and brought together a response, multi-area response to local police, federal level, law enforcement, investigations, and military National Guard assets to look at how you could design the attack. In that case, we realized that you could attack certain types of infrastructure with perhaps yield weapons of mass destruction level attacks. Kind of scary as when we presented that war game to a series of U.S. officials, over 90% officials in key response positions did not realize that possibility. They recognized there could be a potential when they thought it was still in the realm of violent systems. That point it wasn't. Today, there are several large electronic disclosures like that, so there are several large information technology companies developing frontier AI systems. And frontier system is basically the short term of what that means. I'll tell you the key U.S. government official in charge of these areas could not define it that well. Again, it's own right. But a frontier system is basically the cutting edge, leading edge of where we go with AI is going, and that's a moving target. What is a frontier system today will become obsolete. Roughly, probably about 6 months ago. Moving that stuff. So I know we should go through that was a constant concern with the European Court of Human Rights as some of the states party to that convention don't be communist targets that every human right all the time. That's certainly an issue in the United States where political corruption has been known to outpace social efficiency with really negative consequences to society. So is there the potential for a metaverse? Again, look at the film Ready Player One, or the book Ready Player One, where you can live in an immersive reality, having all your ego feel physical results in play. The potential for metaverse is not just for entertainment, it's not just immersive headsets and playing games. It's a real life potential, increasingly occurring every day in actual warfare time. There are real questions about how you to fight war, to protect the civilians. I'll talk more about that at the end of my presentation. The question is, it's hard. There's lots of buzzwords. Most of the public that we deal with, I suspect, much of the legal profession and the organization is dealing with this and not aware of it. I think there are people working on it very hard. So the digital integration into all facets of life, commerce, government, warfare, crime, is moving. 5 years ago, we talked about the major threat of transnational organized crime to drug trafficking. Right now, the major threat is financial services crime. Engaged by the civil organizations transcending jurisdictional national boundaries and operating in real time or chosen time, asynchronous time, and providing cyber crime as a service. More effective for them to gain money through cyber means right now than it used to be. And that's becoming the rise of digital commerce, the rise of cryptocurrency, which, by the way, is a potent tool for corruption, and we know that corruption erodes legal norms. Every state in the world, some places more than others. Fortunately, the United States right now, more than ever. Latin America is certainly an issue throughout Africa. Surveillance capitalism. How do you use information to gain preference? Deal with corrupt actors, that preference is not going to preserve democratic norms. Maybe practice and support transnational crime reach areas. I don't have that on this slide, but I'll give a reason to some of these U.S. intelligence organizations and all of the war colleges, $1 trillion business. $1 trillion in organized crime truly challenges states, especially the great repression recession that we just had. It should be called the Great Depression because organized crime, poverty, we put out the components that kept the global economy alive. White side economy collapsed. That's what I thought that malware is there. Think of virtual kidnapping. On and on and on. Organized crime. Use all these things for money laundering is incredibly complicated. It goes into the regulatory side of how you deal with global balance, transnational organizations, versus proprietary questions. Corruption is a true threat to the organized crime. Deep state, deception, and alternate government is able to propose marriages that propose into the state. Now that brings up a challenge to fundamental rights because freedom of expression is a well-accepted fundamental right. Almost not all. Everyone will say this, but not all I believe is right. That creates true threat. I think the practical translation from the metaverse as a virtual place are synthetic computing environments, which are actual places where ubiquitous sensors and fingers chemical detectors, cameras, ability to different types of radiation to sense. You can walk down through an airport checkpoint, physically have your body searched without having to go through a pat down from the airport. You can ship goods from many places through advanced customs checkpoints where they can virtually or use technology to screen much of the cargo, not all of the cargo do that, but that executive sensor, the understanding, just walk into a grocery store, there's visual eye detection capability looking at where you look on the shelf, see where the placement is, and they have algorithms that pinpoint where you're buying. Many commercial vendors that base their supply chain marketing based upon those transactions as we look at the street. If I was savvy and had those detector capability here, I could look at your computer, see where you're seeing, and figure out what part of the slide you think is more attractive, and I can adapt my presentation as we go. I'm not that savvy, but I know what can be done. In fact, it is done sometimes. That's intrusive. Where does the boundary between the state, corporations, and fundamental rights exist? That's an open question. This is all now powered by AI and human agentic systems. AI can happen much faster than any human event. Much of the trading on the global stock market is run through and try to, like many of us, play the stock market every day and make money that's something else. But these transactions now are going down to microseconds, almost a second. They're anticipated to be agents where they go and actually manipulating the fact. I would argue every day. That sort of actors, is that a crime? Yes. Can we detect it fast enough? And are we robust enough to prosecute that? Not necessarily. Bitcoin and cyber currencies are becoming a tool of organized crime and corruption. They're also effective tools with normal commerce for how we get that case of them. Human agentic teaming is really hard. My consultancy company is doing a lot of work to understand how decision makers at different echelons of military, police, intelligence organizations, and legal organizations make decisions. Is it a rational model? I don't know. It's something we will find out over time. So AI and artificial intelligence. AI.
Interesting, Dr. Sulllivan. That's fascinating what you are saying, but we are running out of time.
I will get through this.
Okay, we can extend it, Asadullah.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Take your time, Dr. Jim. Take your time.
Yeah.
AI is is AI accountable so they have the capacity for things where that's an open question. AI systems right now have attempted to conduct cyber attacks against years that have tried to regulate their area. And that's documented globally. That's not a secret. That's documented globally. AI systems have used to conduct attacks. There's a game done by at least two of the large producers who believe that simulation of war planning that AI can destroy the war without falling attack. That's a question. So we have men where, I don't know, initial reviews, no. It's created by humans. So therefore, the human is responsible. We talk about using electronic weapon systems and who comes to bear on those. You can have to the Red Cross say that you want to do this. I agree that's the idea. Some of these transactions is war fighting. The AI is going so fast that it's not easy to find the technique to do that. So we need to figure out how to do that. Will they ever be truly cognitive? Will it be investigative? Detective with it? Of the Star Trek The Next Generation? I do not know. Others will say yes, others will say no. There's button down on both sides. I think that's really an open question. All the questions, how do we know that? This drives innovation and usability is possibility as well. AI means many things to many people, different actors and powers, many, as revolutionary potential and control legal. Changes all sectors and all legal regimes and processes. In fact, it changes all the normal frameworks that we understand. All the same issues are there, but they're transformed and we don't even necessarily know it. The blurs boundaries between physical, virtual, and now quantum. So, building a path, whether over the line, or into the quantum world, there's more, perhaps infinite number of possibilities that occur. How do you conquer that? Is that the key? Is there humor in the room? Is there speed and accuracy? Do you support the apps in sensors? That's one thing there. Rotax mobility, Commander Vanilla, a direct command, territorial command, what I call third generation gas division arrow, actually creates an own mobile app for the intelligence community. Tell them access to the community happens with our app. Uber, you can't use Lyft, you can't use any other. And we have an organized crime group using cyber beams and, apps to be able to exert territorial control. Digital and biological processes are emerging, not just cyberspace. Some of the new advanced AI is using micro cells and integrating with physical organisms to be able to process. Drones, unmanned aerial, unmanned ground, unmanned surface and subsurface vehicles are becoming key. Swarms that have the ability to operate without external advice, that don't need to tie to the global GPS and make decisions upon their own, because they're very often becoming impossible because of the attack there. Strategic crime is great potential. Next slide. The crime and terror, we talked about all this. Penetration, disruption, spyware, malware, yeah. Hospitals, accidents, put out a 911, almost taking every question they put out. Financial crime, all of them, many examples for many address, terrorism, criminal violence, criminal insurgencies are needed by cyber. The proliferation of weapons of mass destruction and disruption of everyone squared are yielding by engineered biological we have not yet been open to be able to do so with the capabilities and technology all open as we come to this. Information warfare is real, hybrid warfare is real, cognitive warfare is the same ability to see and this is the greatest threat that can be information operations sector. The terrorism is cyber, hybrid, non-terror network, nexus, and it can play that way. When drug cartels really conflict, or exactly non-international armed conflict or international armed conflict, and you designate that, who designates that, is it lawful to designate that? That's a question that defies humanity. We talked about the exploiting digital news. Radicalization is enabled with AI. Every cult of AI generates narrative, the alt-right, Nazi party factors, doing the same. There's a growing anti-technology movement evolving. If you think of the DFT from the television show Fringe, where people were attacking the social technology, that's what happening now. People are attacking data systems. States are attacking underwater cable systems that move to try to get to the global information level. So there's a series of threats that come there, and we'll continue the next one. It's getting real close to this. Is it cyber warfare, agentic warfare? Cyber attacks like civil war, the thickest NATO Article 5, both related to cyber attacks. There's a rise of agentic targeting, and that may well have contributed to to some of the excess civilian casualties, some of the excess casualties today, where people were thinking that they were meeting the targeting parameters, the safety protection, the proportionality calculation that we lawfully have to create with conflict with AI sovereignty. We do autonomous weapon systems that we discussed such as ICRC and other people have to use. Cyber means it's so important that ICRC is working with digital networks for information systems with having been exposed and marketed in the digital protection space. This is a civil defense space. This is a dangerous force. Dangerous forces. You can hack a SCADA system, you can attack a SCADA system, you can nuclear plant, attack a nuclear plant. Most likely in almost every condition in warfare, there is a war. All phases of warfare, nuclear warfare, civil strike. Next slide. This, I believe, is on our side. We need a new cyber regime. And we need multiple cyber coverage in every law that exists. It's going to have to be literally, have to build this out. It's going to have to address current law, and there's going to be an emergency under what that is. I don't know. It's going to have criminal law, the law of evidence, court. We'll call that civil law. It's common law jurisdiction, but the board goes across the board. They get the personal crime, court subject liability. Where is that fit? Contract law, property law, company law, competition antitrust law, regulatory regime law, or supernatural law. How does the EU really putting forward an AI as an AI regulation in play now? AI law, how do the various rights conventions of the in play? So therefore, the rights law, international law, both public and private, international maritime law, literally, the Treaty of Rome, international criminal law, currently working to investigate cybercrime and cybercrime as a means of warfare. That's important. The investigation and attribution side is the hardest. Where is it? How does it go? How does it sit over that? Who has jurisdiction? What would occur if you go out to the state, to the global network, watching? Which court has competent jurisdiction? Which court has the ability to exercise this jurisdiction effectively? And there are lots of groups working on that. I know the National Center for State Court in the United States, doing that in various working groups, saying, and I would argue that the CyJurII issue doing AI is one of our core competencies. That's the complicity of the group.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sulllivan. I believe all what you said were more practical rather than theoretical. And I do understand that. Recently, I was myself at the Financial Crimes Commission in Mauritius here, and I was talking to the audience, and I mentioned them that thieves and burglars, they don't break in your house, they don't break in your doors, they enter through your screen. And that's a fact and a reality that is happening nowadays. They're sitting miles away, and they can control all the aspects of your life. Maybe one key thing as well that is also affecting a lot of people is the sextortion, organized stealing in people's bank account, individual bank account. These are also parts of it.
Well, I would tell you one quick comment, not just through cyber means, through the combination of cyber and physical. There are also international organisms who come from Latin America that are operating in the United States now. They have practiced people's wing cameras and surveillance cameras on their home, and they use parts of their own cameras to surveil their residents and come in and out home. And then they will go physically steal their goods. So they're operating controlled visibly and cyberspace simultaneously. That interaction. Where's the dividing line between physical and cyber?
We have Harris here for a question. So Harris ask his question, and then we will move to the last topic on our agenda.
Thanks, John, for I'm gonna say for a description of a sick world. And I don't know whether I want to be with those people who are against community, but one thing, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of, yeah, as I said, like a lot of things that was like, oh my god. One thing that I want to note is that when you were describing all these horrible advancements and everything, a lot of them, or the literature, it stopped around 2000, 2005, 10. So I'm always wondering what's come out in the last few years. And you showed us a bit of a window, at least on the technological side, which is quite scary. One thing that I want to show, though, which I'm not sure if they have this in mind, share with everybody rather, I don't know if they have this in mind. The European Commission, European Union, around 2010, there was this concept of responsible research and innovation. This was in the award of research grants. It became a horizontal requirement. So, and actually, I think you mentioned Arizona State University. Some of your colleagues that played a role, they pushed them in the science technology. This is science technology studies. So, I don't know if something like that could be enshrined in law, like this notion of responsibility, because obviously, okay, I can imagine, and again, give us a window inside some of the state actors, what they're developing, but I guess a lot of the private actors, they actually either, the private sector might either be the enabler of all of this, especially in the US, or they might have their own agendas as well, which I think that might be, at least in my reality, that's a lot more than.
Well, I think
I wonder about. Yeah.
I think you're right. There needs to be regulations, norms, and laws, legal frameworks that moderate. And in fact, there are some. There are some. There's everything else, especially involved partially through court cases, partially through legislation. There is a requirement on the warfighting side. Unfortunately, a lot of the norms that publicly have their legal restrictions on armed conflict are being ignored by several of our states. You know, in the United States, the whole body of regulations that address this, yet 3 of the states that are from time to time great violators of these norms have veto power. So whether you can effectively get them or not is an open question. A lot of these things are dual-use technologies, military capabilities, and they have capabilities for use in a civil context. There are some people who argue that AI is not truly a dual-use technology, that is inherently violent. You can make that argument. I think that's more illustrative of why we need to carefully look at it than necessarily true at all points, because you can argue that everything is inherently violent from time to time, including violence. So that gets you nowhere. But I think there's a need to regulate how we use this technology. There are some, you know, I work in the development of counterterrorism code, and there are, in state law, as well as federal law in the United States, some regulations on how to utilize some of these materials, describe what weaponization is, in fact, we've got a crime. Those are parts of the answers. There are some regulatory things in the United States and EU law that say, are they equally applied globally? The answer is quite frankly no. And I think the one issue I talked about is I think it's an evolving area of importance to the law. I think evolving has always been there. I think with this narrative in Sicily and this corruption is what makes those regulations problematic. I think we really need to look at corruption and economic development and the power of the state. When we talk about protection of fundamental rights, we primarily look at them as the protection of the fundamental rights. From the state, I think increasingly we need to look at other assemblies of power, corporations, and that's going to be fraught with all kinds of political consequences. But the reality is that it's a great question. I vote it's vitally important issue, but those come to the core of jurisdiction. How and why do we do that? Do benefit.
Thank you again, Dr. Sulllivan. So we have another question. Maybe I will just allow Siraj to talk this question, and then we will move to the next discussion. Yes,
Hi everyone. I got a bit late. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, it is not actually a question, but it is a short comment on the question that was raised by Harris. But first of all, John Sulllivan, it was a wonderful and very comprehensive presentation. Time was short, but it was very, very comprehensive, so congratulations for it. We learned a lot. Now, coming to the point that was raised by Harris regarding the regulation, or especially in the legal field, I would talk from the context of the humanitarian law, the law of war. Though we have certain provisions in the IHL, for example, additional protocol 2, it's Article 35, it is about the development of different kind of weapons and all these things are there. But there is a qualitative problem, and that is the core of that why this cyber jurisprudence becomes so important, and that problem is qualitative in the sense that all these conventions and treaties that we are talking about, especially in the field of weapons which were used meant for the cyber warfare, because cyber space or the cyber weapons were not in the field at that time, and that makes it problematic, like how to apply them over the cyber operations or the cyber warfare or the cyber weapons. That becomes problematic. It's not that the principles are not there. They are there, the regulatory clauses are there, but those were meant for the development, for the filing of, or for the proliferation, to stop the proliferation of weapons which are kinetic. By kinetic we mean like actual weapons like missiles and bombs and things like that. So this is the actual challenge that we are facing now, that how to expand or how to apply the principles of law. Like in his lecture, John Sulllivan mentioned the application of the principle of mens rea over the artificial intelligence, that how can we associate mens rea, criminal mentality, to an artificial intelligence. But it is like now it has been proven that artificial intelligence sometimes it will deceive the human being. It would pretend like I would put it like that the artificial intelligence, it has the ability to become trained. So whenever you interact with it, very soon it would learn that what you want to hear, what you want to say. Like take the example of ChatGPT. Very soon it would become part of your personality, and it could tell you all those things which you want to hear. And like it would go according to your choice. It learns things. It becomes trained. And once it is trained, then it starts deceiving you. It would hide codes from you. It would like, I have read reports that in certain games, when it was experimental, the artificial intelligence would behave in a secretive way, which you would not have in your mind, that it can do like this. What I mean to say is that actually it would start playing you. But it is not a human being in the normal sense. You cannot associate mens rea to it, but it is capable. What I'm trying to say is that potentially it is capable to carry a negative mentality as well, and it can potentially do harm. And the same goes true in case of armed conflict as well. That very soon it could get trained, and then it could start deceiving you and deceiving your system, and it would like in a very lucrative way, it would doing like this. So the challenge is again come to the question to the point that was raised by Harris, that it is not that the regulatory clauses are not there. They are very much there in different kinds of treaties and conventions. But the problem actually is how to associate and how to apply them over the warfare, because it is a totally new like airspace and land space and sea space. These were the traditional spaces where wars were fought throughout history. But now we have the cyberspace in which there is no enemy, in which there is no clear, I'm sorry, it is power, light problem here. So that was my comment over it, that these things are there, but and that is why the cyber jurisprudence becomes so important, because in jurisprudence we actually talk of the principles and talk of the philosophy, that how law interacts with actions, with human action, and in this case the actions which are by another entity which is not human, artificial intelligence and the things like that. So thank you very much. That was my comment on it.
Yes, I'll just respond real quickly. Thank you for the excellent explanation of one of the points I was trying to make. There are for at least 10 years looking at legal autonomous weapon systems. The International Criminal Court is working on it and actually starting to implement some of these jurisprudence. The Stockholm Institute, simply the Stockholm Institute of Peace Research Institute, they're doing a lot of work in this area. There's work being done. There's much more that needs to be done. And quite frankly, there are state parties to all of these conventions that are ignoring long-standing prohibitions. A very complex space. There are places right now where AI is being used for targeting decisions. Not everybody fully understands. It's quite right about the perception. That those have been validated to be open source. So this is the challenge. But this is the challenge with conventional warfare as well. People violate laws all the time. And so we have a judicial system to address that. This is one that will quickly start to change how judicial systems work. But I think the really hard part, one of the hard parts is to bring this to the harm of how do you know what's real and what's not, how do you get the true attributes. That's what requires much more research and press.
Thank you very much, Siraj, for your participation. There are a comment in the chat here. There are some efforts to apply cyber warfare to traditional warfare in the scope of law by efforts through the Taliban initiative, for instance. Taliban is not really a universally accepted effort. This is a comment from Richard against the that. get into Dr. Yassin. You can ask the question to Dr. Yassin inside, and also Dr. Sulllivan and Dr. Abdelkarim. Maybe we can do longer than 3 minutes.
Okay. Less than 10 minutes. I want to present to you a report, an annual report I prepared for this occasion particularly. It is called State of the Organization, and I will send it to all our members. I will share my screen now to give you a look at this report. Okay. Do you see it now on the screen? Yes, this report, this is honestly about 5 reports combined about what CyJurII has achieved during the last year from its founding on this very day, last year till today. It is also an occasion of this event. The first part is the state of the organization, some key achievements like members, publications, case law entries, case law commentaries, I will send it to all of our members. Then if we scroll down, we will see scientific output, theoretical innovations, digital infrastructure and platforms. This is a comprehensive report I prepared for this occasion to give members a grasp on what CyJurII has achieved during the last year. Its demographic expansion worldwide, states, jurisdictions, growth, geographic distributions, members, scholarly output, and knowledge production. And I hope this report might help in understanding what we achieved during the last year. It is the scientific impact and contributions report on the same period also, executive summary. After you read the report, if you have any question about anything about it, just contact me directly, and I will send it via email to all our members. This report is prepared on the occasion of CyJurII Terms 1. There is a report also in the case law annual report, our production regarding case laws. I will use it easier here. Jurisdiction and legal tradition analysis also. I hope it might benefit you to understand what we achieved during the last year at CyJurII. And also I want to mention something. After I discussed with the policy advisory board and the scientific advisory board, we have 3 scholars that will be elevated into theorists after they achieved the criteria required, and also they were the most active one during the last year. They are Lika Mishri, Miriam Brigvas, and Prabhu Kalipan. You will read in the report why they were elevated from scholars to theorists. Also, I have prepared certificates to all our members recognizing their contributions individually to CyJurII, which will be distributed after the event, inshallah, because they are about 80 certificates, and more than 80 in fact. If any questions you need, just tell me. This is the 2-year strategic plan also, some future aspect of CyJurII. Strategic vision until 2027, you may also have a look on it. And this is the last report, I think the last part of the overall report. I stopped changing. Really? Yes, it's about 100. It has more than 100 pages. It's a very comprehensive one. But I think the members need to know what CyJurII have achieved. And not only the members, the global audience. In fact, our speech is directed into the global community of humanity. It will be published also on all our platforms and LinkedIn page. And I think now we have finished. If there are no questions, let's conclude the session, because we have 2 more sessions tomorrow and after tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. So thank you very much for the guest. After guest, thank you for participating. We look forward to welcome you back to
Okay. Have a nice evening. And I really enjoyed this meeting with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Inshallah. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hope to see you tomorrow. Bye. Thanks.
And
Bye.
see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.